Bitcoin is the best bet that you'll make, right? It's scarce. There's only 21 million. And so why would you not want to pour everything into something that you know is going to just go up? We have to store our money where we can get our time and our freedom back. We call freedom like going to work, making money, and then coming home. I almost feel like we have modern day chains on us.
We're really early. The amount of users Bitcoin has now is the amount of users the internet had in 1997. It's not many users. I found this in 2018. I was in a conference in San Diego and some crazy old man came over to me and said like, hey, all this crypto stuff, all this stuff is bullshit. Just actually study Bitcoin. Started studying and I was like, oh, wait a minute. That is actually the game changer.
It's always good to like learn from people and just be open-minded, right? A lot of people are closed-minded. They think it's one way. It has to be this way. I gotta go to work for 70, 65 plus years, retire, live on Social Security, Medicare, a pension, or your 401k. Like now, like you can do things differently and get your time back sooner so that you can focus on things that matter.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest value propositions for Bitcoin. That's something that I heard Anthony, you just said her name. What's her name?
It's Danielle.
Danielle. Okay. The Danielle you mentioned about partners having more time with each other. And I think, we can go into our tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, but we don't have to talk about like the Rockefeller way of doing school. But the fact that parents don't have that much time with their kids anymore is I think it's being overlooked more than it should.
Absolutely.
And we've been used to this way of living that, oh no, we have to go work for somebody else and obey somebody else and give first priority to somebody else than the family. And we're all used to it. Like we're not debating it anymore. We're not thinking that's weird. We're not thinking that's a bad thing. We're just thinking, hey, that's just life as we know it.
I know.
And that's what's so fascinating about what you were saying, Danielle, about Bitcoin helping us reverse that. We're actually buying ourselves the time that we want to spend with the people that we actually choose in our lives and not the ones, Yeah,
no, absolutely. And we actually choose to homeschool. So
Good.
we actually have,
I want to talk about that.
I still work and I've actually worked in the education system. I'm a teacher by trade. So
wow, my girl's also a teacher.
What's that?
My girl's also a teacher.
Oh,
Nice.
Cool. Awesome.
Teachers.
Yeah. And so I would see my coworkers go into school with, 4 kids. I know that they have 4 kids, right? And I'm going, wow, like that's exhausting. You have 4 kids, you're dropping them off at school, you're going to school to teach other kids, and then you have to go home and then have more, like it just was, this was before we even married actually. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know. I know this is like normal, right? Like quote unquote, like this is just a normal thing that people are doing all the time. But it made me question it even back then. And so when we had our children, I was like, I'm a teacher. Like, why would I go teach other kids if I could teach my own children?
100%.
And thankfully it's, it's hard in a lot of ways. It can be very challenging, but there's nothing better than being able to invest in your own kids, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to spend time with them. Again, as exhausting, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's exhausting. You get frustrated with each other. You're always around each other, right? But I'd rather them be around me and know what they're taking in rather than someone else. Mm-hmm. And so that's definitely a value of ours, is to have our kids close and be as much as we can invested with them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, that's kind of like our heart too, is like really just wanting to build the family back, bring it back to the family system and that unit.
When I scroll my Instagram a little bit, I think I've trained the algorithm to show me things like this, people that are homeschooling and how they go about homeschooling and the wide variety of activities that the children can do just in a span of 8 hours. Whereas in a regular school system, you'd be locked in, I don't know, you get 45 minutes out of those, or I guess an hour and a half out of those 8 hours to actually do what you want.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys go about it? Like, it must be a challenge. I had a teacher on, yeah, a few months back, that he was talking about. He had 14 years in the regular school system. He was a principal in Utah, and he decided to just stop and go all in on homeschooling. So I'd be curious to know how you guys do it.
Yeah, we always thought it was like a value of ours, right? To invest in our kids. And we have a lot of family that are teachers or counselors, and there's nothing wrong with that
Right.
profession, but there is I think we're almost like just going through like a system, right? Oh, we're getting pushed to the next grade, to the next period, to the next class, and so how can somebody, a teacher, really pour into 30 kids?
It's
Like
hard.
you
It's really
can't,
hard.
you can't. And so and everyone grows differently and learns differently. So how can you really focus on their strengths and weaknesses when there's just 30 kids, or
Yeah.
even 15? You can't. And
No.
so what do we do? They do their best, they do the best that they can, but then, before then they're gone to the right when you feel like you're probably making progress, boop, they're on
Mhm.
to the next grade, or they're on to the next class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just, I don't know. It doesn't, there's no impact there. I really feel like when you're
Hmm.
getting into the weeds of investing into people.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
with
for sure.
homeschool, we really see that you can invest in your kids, you know what they're learning, get outside more. I
Yeah.
think getting outside is so good for you. Fresh air, parks,
Just being out in the community
walks.
too. Like some people don't realize just being in the community how effective that is for kids.
Hmm.
And being put in situations like going to the grocery store, like some kids don't even go to the grocery store with their parents anymore. I don't even know if, like, I was thinking about, I'm like,
Yeah,
because
it's
parents,
so good. I don't remember last time I seen a kid there.
no, I get asked all the time, "Oh, do you homeschool?" Because I'm in the middle of the day at the grocery store, right?
Hmm.
And I have a job where that's remote too, and actually it's still in the educational system, but it allows me for some flexibility. So that's why I am able to homeschool. But yeah, it's interesting because you're teaching them these life skills, and you're seeing them out in the world at different hours of the day, where a lot of kids are stuck in a classroom. And again, I loved being a teacher. I loved those kids that I was blessed to be in front of. I felt like so grateful for all that I learned in that season of life. Now that I get to see the other side of the education system of being like our homeschooling journey, um, it's been awesome. So yeah, not every day's the same. What I think would, and that's traditionally in the classroom too, what we think we plan is going to go according to plan, doesn't always go according to plan. So adjust. And so you have that flexibility there too. Being in the world of homeschooling, you have different philosophies too. You have people who are like, a little more, what would I call them? Hippie-ish or crunchy, if you will. They're kind of like
Yeah.
out in nature and doing their thing, and that's cool. That's a philosophy in its own. And then some are kind of schooling like how they were traditionally schooled, because that's all we know, right? But the parents do know that homeschooling is, really beneficial. It's just that we've been
Yeah.
stuck in a system for however long that it's hard. So it's been really fun to see the different ideas that come through. Like you, I'm on social media sometimes, and I'm like, gosh, that's a really cool idea. Or I'm pulling things that I would have never probably seen on my own that is in nature, right? I didn't, again, traditional school teacher. I wasn't out on hikes during the day with my students. So I wasn't thinking about what birds to look for, like there's just different people's aspects of homeschooling that is really cool. So yeah, I don't know if that actually answered your question, but it's been fun.
I imagine it's been fun because it allows us to be that flexible. Like you're saying, it's one of those big perks with this, social economy that we have. You have a remote job. That's what I'm trying to build too. I think more and more people are waking up to the freedom that they can have if they just build their own brand or their business or whatever income or cash flow that allows them that
Yeah.
freedom.
Mhm.
I'm curious about how you structure your day though. Do you go about it a weekly basis? Do you go about it like a monthly basis? And what do you put in the different time slots? How long are they? Like there's so
Yeah.
many different ways to go about this. And I've
Yeah.
heard so many different people do it differently. And
Yeah.
yeah, how do you like what do you choose like as
Yeah.
topic, as things to do? Like how do you go about it?
So we actually utilize a charter school. So here in California, we're actually able to use public charter school funds for us to be able to utilize like curriculum and activities and things like that, which has been really a blessing. That's actually kind of like what my job is too. But I am able to utilize those funds. So we actually have a teacher that we work with, and they help us make sure that we're following the standards, but we are able to individualize it based on our students, right? So I'm guided by the standards of our state, right, or of the Common Core or whatever we're using, and I use that to drive my instruction. So thankfully, I have a background in education, so I use curriculum, but I also can adjust it based on like, oh, that's a really boring lesson. Let's find something else to do,
Yeah.
um, and kind of adapt it that way. Structurally, I use a lot of autonomy with my kids. My 5-year-old is actually in kindergarten, so my 4-year-old won't be starting school until next year, but she likes to join in on the fun. So there's obviously activities happening there. Um, yeah, activities or distractions, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, she's involved in what we're doing. But yeah, I have like a visual checkboard of the things that I would like to get done that day, and I have her list how she wants to get them all done. So that's really important at younger ages. Now it changes as they get older. Kids are much more like need more, some kids need more guidance and they're going to fight you on everything. Luckily, my daughter, thankfully, has been pretty good about, like, okay, these are our expectations for the day. Let's get these things done. And then we can go to the park, or we can go, I need to go to the grocery store, or we'll take a break
Yeah.
after this lesson.
Yeah.
So we always try to focus on at least, literature, reading, math every day, reading and math every day. And then
Smart.
we do need to get to social studies and science, but those look differently. I use like a workbook, but then I find like videos or things that are more interesting than just like her writing on a worksheet. Because some kids love that and some kids hate that. So it just depends on the day. I'm like reading her and I'm like, oh, we're not going to get to that today. So that's kind of structurally how the day goes. Some days, and then she actually goes to like a little learning center, like a little class twice a week too. That's been helpful for her socially because she's a social butterfly. So she loves to make friends, and she makes friends everywhere we go. But she really likes that like feeling of a quote unquote school, of like listening to her, getting her things out. She's just like a little like perfect student. I love being her teacher. It's so fun.
That's
But
cool.
that's kind of how I navigate it.
When do you guys plan on having them? Because they're still young, like 4 and 5, you said, the
Yeah.
oldest. When do you guys plan on having them say like, "Hey, now you get to choose a path. Like, what do you enjoy? Like, what do you like?" Because that's one of the perks, right, of homeschooling, to be like you can actually tap into the things that genuinely interest them. Have you guys
Yes. Yeah.
thought ahead and thought like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're paying attention now. We're monitoring. Like, we're getting to know them because they're still kids. Like,
Yeah.
and how they express their interest is probably different from kid to kid. Like, how do you guys thinking about that?"
Yeah.
What do you think? I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly too, Felipe. So like,
Yeah.
as in like going to school, like going like, hey, I want to go to high school or junior high, or you're talking about like activities like
Like, or what they want to be
what
when they
they,
grow up, kind
you
of thing. Is
know,
that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, because sometimes they just like, I don't know, they like building Legos. And sometimes it's just really nice to get to build Legos if that's what you want to do. It doesn't mean like, hey, that needs to be connected to something you do in the future, but more like, hey, this hour or this hour and a half, I just want to build Legos and I don't want anybody to bother me, and I'm 6 years old. And
Yeah.
it's that, because I feel like when I think back to my childhood and how I um would have wanted it to be, I would have loved to be like, hey, I mean, maybe building Legos is not the most productive thing a 6-year-old could do, or a 7-year-old or 8-year-old could do, but it's not completely useless, right?
Mhm.
So not only do I get to do something I want to do, which is such a huge benefit to feel that confidence being given to somebody that young. Be like, hey, I get to do what I want during this time, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
I felt
Yeah.
like all the time I was like, even whatever I wanted to do, somebody would be like, yeah, but should you? You know,
Yeah.
that's more
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you can add on that, Dan, because I think you're home more with the kids,
Yeah.
and Janelle's just an amazing teacher overall, and so that's why she's really like took control of like the homeschooling, right? Because she does it, it's
Yeah,
in her environment, she's in her element,
Hmm.
and so I think I always just trust her on what she does with our kids, because again, like other teachers or parents are always like requesting her to be her teacher, so I'm always
nice.
like, what would you say?
Yeah, no, and I think I wish there was more time for the fun stuff in the classroom because kids really don't need to be at school for 8 hours. They really don't.
Yeah,
Like, they really do not need to be there that long. But
yeah,
what you're dealing with when you're in a school setting is you're dealing with multiple personalities,
yeah,
behavior, transitions. There's just like a bunch of little hiccups throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So even here, like I only have, I'm really focusing on the two, right, of like homeschooling them. But yeah, there's some navigating of that too, of like, okay, you're having a hard day today, and I'm losing my patience as well. So let's take a breather. Do you want to color? Do you want to go do this? Because I feel that it's important when we are able that's a life skill. Like if I'm in an argument with Anthony, if it's escalating, right? Then I'm gonna be like, you know what? We're irritated with each other, or we're having a hard time communicating effectively right now. Let's just take a breather.
Bye. Yeah.
You go work out, go on a run. I need to just step
yeah,
away, get some fresh air, and then we
yeah.
can
That's
come back
beautiful.
and we can kind of like talk about it. So
Mm-hmm.
these little things that we think are so I don't know, like honey, like that aren't that important are really important for life
Yeah,
ahead, you know?
yeah,
So I'm hoping that when we're having these, learning things that are happening when she's frustrated with something or I'm frustrated with something, that we can teach the skill of like, you know what? I'm not being nice to you. You're not being nice to me. We probably should not talk to each other for, like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever we need. And you can go do something that you enjoy. I'm going to go do something I enjoy for a second, and then we'll probably feel a lot better. And so to your point
yeah,
of, letting them kind of guide, if they want to color, if they want to build, or they want to do things like that, I don't want to take that away, because that can be sometimes one of those calming things that allows everyone to just kind of like reset and come back so we can have a better day.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And even in my classroom, I tried to do those things. There was definitely things that I had expected, but if I saw the whole class, we were just all in a bad situation, I'd be like, you know what? I'd open up my closet. I had like, I had Legos, I had blocks, I obviously taught like more elementary level. But I was like, you know what, you guys, let's have like engineering time. Make a roller coaster for me. Thanks. And then I would just like take a breather too,
yeah.
because we're human. We can't always be perfect, happy, you know, all these
Following
things.
instructions, doing what we're told, like,
Yeah.
We can't. It's
No.
not, it's hard. And when they're little, it's even harder. Like they can only handle so much like instruction from anybody. So there is a portion of student led in like when we're doing homeschool, but there is a portion of expectations as well. So there's that
yeah, I
happy
mean,
medium of, making sure that there are expectations in life that we need to attain and
yeah,
reach. How you want to get there is fine with me, but we do need to get them done.
yeah,
So there's an expectation, there's a timing, and then if we see that there's like an explosion about to happen, I'm usually like, you know what? We need a break. So let's go, like, do you want to go play a board game, or do you want to go play like a different? Because those are all different skills that they're learning there too. Building
yeah, and
Legos
it's
is
a lot
super
more
strategic.
human. That is a lot more human than to just be like, hey, you shouldn't be angry right now. Like, you should just ignore your emotions and your thoughts about what's frustrating you, and this is what you're supposed to do. And if you don't follow instructions, you're not going to get a job, and your grades are
Right.
going to be
Yeah.
bad, and you're going to like that is so much more like robotic. You're not.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so, and that's what's interesting to me, that we're so accustomed to, because for some reason humans decided that that's the best way to go about it, and we just didn't question it. And I guess that brings us over to a different topic, and it's this hive mindset, or maybe I don't like to use sheep mentality because it's too like pressing and it's too negatively loaded. But we are struggling, I think, especially in my country as well. We have this issue of not daring to question what's, normal. Like if it's in the news and if that's the normal thing to do and the acceptable thing to do, then stop questioning it. If everybody is agreeing, it means that it's been verified and experts say it's the way to go. Like
Yeah.
that is what is, for me, worries me the most. And I can draw an anecdote from the country that I live in. I feel like we struggle with that a lot, and I've said that many times in the episodes
Mm-hmm.
that I have that I've had on the show. I don't know if you guys have heard about the boiling frog syndrome. The people, I don't know, the 4 people that regularly listen to my podcast are probably going to say like, "Hey, that's the 5th time you say that." But the boiling, I don't know if you guys have heard it, the boiling frog syndrome.
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh, yes,
I've
yes,
heard it.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like we're struggling with that here in Norway and the Nordics and maybe in the Western countries. You guys are from California, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is some sort of hive mind over there as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I think I just to backpedal real quick, Felipe. I know you mentioned like sheep mentality and it's like pressing for people, but no, like I honestly think that they try to make us like just go down, tell us what to do, whatever the news says. People are just like are just drawn to it and they're like, oh yeah, this has to be true. Nobody thinks for themselves, right? And I honestly think like turn the TV off, right? I think thinking outside the box, I think the TV is the box, right? You have to go and think for yourself, right? And question everything. Like, why not? We had someone on our podcast a couple weeks ago, Sean. He had this great analogy. He'd always be like, ask why. As the little kids, we're always asking why. Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Why is it like this? Right? Why is it this color? And all of these great questions. But as adults, we like figure out like we're like, oh, like we think we know everything, right? We just went through the schooling system. We got a degree, like we know everything. But like honestly, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know anything. And Bitcoin exposes that.
Yeah.
Right? You learn about everything when it comes to government, taxes, housing, money, printing, just so budgeting, right? Financing, all of these things that are actually valuable. We come out of school and then we're like ready to enter the real world, into the workforce, and then we're just again being told what to do. They're like grooming us to be like employees. And it's funny how like you can go through all the schooling and then you're like being told what to do by somebody who's the entrepreneur or the business owner who's doesn't even have a degree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're making more money, right? Or like it's just, and there's nothing wrong with education. I think that it's not the same as what our parents went through and our grandparents, right? Like back then, a degree, it weighed a lot. Now it doesn't
Yeah, it
weigh
made
anything.
sense.
So many people go through school, and number one, I think like asking someone when they're young, like, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or like, it's like nobody knows what they really want to do when they grow up. And if they do, they're like rare, right? They're like, they just knew this, like, but nobody really knows what they want to do.
And if you
when
ask
they
a
grow
young,
up.
and not to interrupt you, but if you ask, our daughter right now what she wants to be when she grows up, it's a princess. And I'm like,
Right.
well, that's not.
Yeah, that's normal.
I mean, you are our princess, but that's not going to really sustain you in life, my love. So, so it's one of those, so it is to continue. Sorry, but I wanted to like, it's true,
I can build upon that because I think what you're saying, Anthony, about oh, I lost the thread.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, so we can build
about
upon
what they want to be when they grow up. Is that what you're trying
right.
to? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for picking that up. Yes, even 18-year-olds, like ask 18-year-olds. I'd ask you guys, did you guys know what you wanted to be when you were 18?
Well, I wanted to go ahead, Daniel.
I kind of had an idea, but it was more based on the fact that I didn't want, it was like based all on the fact that what gave me the most amount of time not working. So as a teacher, you like get all the holidays off, you get summer off. It was because I knew one day I wanted a family, right? So I already had like a mindset of I want to be with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what is going to allow me to make money and also be with my family,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
even though that still was like a very exhausting job, as being a teacher. But I was like, okay, it was all based selfishly on not wanting to work. Like truly, like it was really based around the fact that I wanted to be able to have every fun thing off so I could be with my family during those times.
I think that's totally reasonable because that's how the relationship between a man and a woman has been for longer than whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was the man who was supposed to, build a home or I guess build a house, and the woman was to make it into a home. I don't know if that's like we can go on that tangent, which is like the feminist movement that brought you guys into the workforce. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that women are less worthy of work. Because people can take that and conflate it and like it can make it
Yeah.
into whatever they want.
Yeah.
But
No.
what you're saying, Danielle, is that your motivation to seek what you wanted was not um, was was focused on what you wanted to do with your family. I think that's completely reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to search for a job within the system that we have been brought up in to be able
Mm-hmm.
to facilitate for that is also absolutely fair. And
Yeah.
being selfish about that, I mean, it's only your life, right? And we can go like this is a philosophical part of, the conversation, I guess, but it's like what else than selfish should you be when you think about your future? Like
Right.
it only
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think it's a common theme. Even you guys are from, California, different part of the world than here, but we're still both you and I are considered the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
And we are taught that somebody else needs to be pleased for me to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody needs to approve of me, the things that I know, the things that I can produce, how I am, who I am, for me to actually succeed. And
Mm-hmm.
that's to me so twisted. I
Yeah.
still struggle with that. I still struggle with, you know, um, focusing on myself, like thinking that what I should do is to make sure that I am well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For so
Mm-hmm.
long, I've been thinking that and acting in other people's favor, even though they don't want to. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a common theme in my previous relationship. It's one still in this one, where where being useful for others is more important than being useful for myself. And I think that's twisted. So
Yeah.
it's so reasonable for you, Danielle, to have that motivation, to have that North Star, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, and as much as it was selfish, it was also for my future, So it was actually for my kids. It wasn't
Right.
necessarily like for me like
Mm-hmm.
in the moment of being an 18-year-old, super selfish, right? It was more like I don't really want to work, but I have to work. So that was kind of my motivation at that age at 18, but when I'm, older now, I mean, thankfully I grew up in a home where I had both my parents and they were around, but they were also both working. And so they missed a lot of opportunities with us, me and my siblings too. They worked really
Yeah.
hard and I'm so grateful for that life for sure. But it definitely made me more eager to have that time with my family more.
Yeah.
And so it's as it's selfish, but it's also very future focused. And I feel like you can relate that to Bitcoin too. It's such a delay of gratification in the moment and you're thinking about your future. You're wanting to move
Mm-hmm.
that legacy of your family forward, and it's not about us here. Maybe we might see the fruits of our labor. Hopefully that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But if maybe
Our kids will
our
for
kids do.
sure. And
So, and then their families, and that's our goal, is to always
mm-hmm.
incorporate that and make sure that they know that we're doing these things now so that they can, stand on our shoulders and continue to
Mm-hmm.
thrive and grow and become. So, yes, there is a selfishness in that, but it's also very much about the wanting to, for our future family at that point, and now our current family, to be able
Mm-hmm.
to see them grow and become. And so, yeah, just to
Yeah.
add on.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what there is nothing more important than that, obviously. Like, I think you guys are young enough to see the benefits of whatever it is that you guys are stacking, because this is money for the first time with absolute scarcity. Those
Mm-hmm.
sats that you have, hopefully, in your cold storage,
Yes.
um, somewhere
Cold
very
storage
secure,
only.
good.
Good.
Um, that is, I mean, that's the only way to do it. Yeah, I don't want to continue going on tangents, but the that is the purpose of it. Like being able to store your time and energy in
Mm-hmm.
money that nobody can mess with, to use mild and kind terms here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
um, that is the ultimate. Like, what else would be interesting? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I do what I do also because I want to have a family. I want to have kids. I want to have my girl be able to not work, because we said not work, but I mean, being a mom is the most important job.
Yeah. It's so yeah, it's so significant, and we look over it, Felipe. When going back to like, if you're a woman and you want to go into the workforce, that's great. I think that's awesome,
Yeah.
right? I'm a root for you. But I do think that more women went in because the dollar was getting devalued, right?
You had to.
The number one provider was the man. And if the dollar is losing value, they're like, hey, well, I need you to go to work too, because
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna need, our lifestyle that we want. We need you to go to work.
Yeah.
And then they went into work, right? And it was like very, very slow, right? And then it was like woman power, or like do you, or like boss lady, right? And that's again, that's fine. But what I'm saying
Yeah,
is that I do think at the very root, most women, I don't want to say all women, but most women, they want to be home. They want to be with their kids, or they just
Agreed.
want to be like, or just be free to like roam, right? And do whatever they want
Mm-hmm.
with their, and knowing that they're taken care of. Because women,
yeah,
they want that shelter, they want that protection, they want that feeling of like security. And there's not, I think that's how, I think it's just natural. And when they
yeah,
do go into the workforce, they're like, you know what, they probably might not say it out loud, but like deep down, I think it's like eating them, where they're just like, you know what, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to have someone tell me what to do. I don't want to have to always dress up nice, right? And with her is like most people, I think the route to like divorces and like cheating is because if you think about it, like we live in a long distance relationship in the same house,
Mm.
right? You
yeah.
go these
Ooh,
separate
that's a
places
good
for
one. You should tweet that, my brother.
yeah, there's like we go to different places for 8+ hours a day, and we almost live like these separate lives. Like you're with your coworkers more than you're with your spouse, right?
Yeah,
And so it's natural to like have feelings for somebody at work, right? That you see every day, you work with, you're like trying to like figure things out, solve problems, make money, and then you go home and you give your leftovers to your spouse, and then you're just like, it's so easy to like flop on the TV, right? And like boom,
yeah,
Yeah.
repeat and do it over again.
Yeah.
No, like that's not how, like I married my wife to be married, right? To be together.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
how do we bring these roots back, these values back? We have to store our money where we can like get our time and our freedom back. Freedom, we're not even, I don't like how we call freedom like going to work, making money, and then coming home. I almost think, I almost feel like a modern day, we have modern day chains on us, right? We have to go and someone tells us what to do. We
Mm-hmm.
have a boss, right? And like, hey, can I go to the can I go to the dentist today? Can I go pick up my kids? Like what? Like and people don't step back and think, like they think it's normal. I don't think it's normal.
Mm-mm.
I don't
it's
think
not.
anything that we do is normal.
Yeah,
Normal to me is like spending time with my family and my kids, traveling, right? Having experiences, making memories, right?
yeah,
And not trying to take vacations. Like a vacation is like, in the word it says vacate, right? You're vacating your life, that you're like to go like do something fun for a little bit and then come back.
yeah,
Like, no, I want to take trips, right?
Yeah.
I want to like invest. I want to be like with my family,
Mm-hmm.
time, right? We don't know how much time is our most precious commodity, and we trade it for dollars. And
yeah,
like, and we're trading it for something that's getting devalued, printed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bitcoin is the best bet that you'll make, right? It's scarce. There's only 21 million. And so why would you not want to pour everything into something that you know is going to just go up, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think like in Lawrence Lepper's book, The Big Print, like I love how he talks about, hey, there's going to be a time where we're going to talk about before pre-Bitcoin and after Bitcoin. And I'm like, that is something that I am just like is so true, right? It's gonna happen, and it's just a matter of time before people understand and grasp it. And that's why it's so important. We're like, dude, let's make a podcast and get this
Yeah.
message out to people, right? Meet cool people like Felipe. Felipe, teach my, share something with my wife in this conversation that she might not have heard of from me, right? Or have a different, perspective.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
goes
I can
back
build
to,
upon that, Anthony, because
yes.
I think there's several points here. There's inflation, and one of the things that I think is a fallacy, or is a common belief, that inflation is not the issue. And the reason for that, at least here in Norway, I talked to a friend that did a 5-year finance degree, economics degree, and he saw one of the posts that I made about the money printer and inflation being an issue, because that means somebody can press a button and create the money that everybody else has to work the entire year for. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not the issue, because we need the inflation to have growth in the economy. And me being, a pleb, just studying this on myself, didn't have the vocabulary necessarily to explain why I disagreed with it. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have economists studying for 5 years being told that this is the norm, like,
Mm-hmm.
who is anybody who isn't studying economy
Right.
or economics to say against that? Because they can stand behind their PhD or their whatever degree and say, hey, do you think they taught me incorrectly for 5 years? And do,
Yeah.
do you do
Yeah,
you
they
think
did.
exactly? Do you think that, you know the you that didn't go to school has better information than the information they're giving me at school? It's such a twisted
Uh-huh.
reality to believe that teachers or that institutions have the highest quality information. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that we might use as a gateway for us to make people like understand in a kind,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, way, to open their eyes, because they are literally being lied to
Yeah.
in school, and that's one of the big
Yes.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was the time frame. We say that, hey, anytime now, Bitcoin is gonna skyrocket, but we have to remember, I think, that we're really early. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of users Bitcoin has now is the amount of users the internet had in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is not many users.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
for some reason, are lucky that we're early. I
Mm-hmm.
found this in 2018. I was in a conference in San Diego, and some crazy old man came over to me and said, like, hey, all this crypto stuff, that the conference that I was on was a crypto conference. He's like, all this stuff is bullshit. Just actually study Bitcoin. Don't care about anything else. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, crazy old man. I got home. I was like, hey, I'm going to try to remember what this guy said. Started studying, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. That is actually the game changer. But we are
Yes.
early. We are really early. We have time
Yeah.
to stack, and Bitcoin's going to go to $10 million a coin in our lifetime. I 100% believe
Yeah.
that.
I agree. I agree.
So we have to remember that even at $1 million a coin, we can 10x our money in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be aware of that, and that means that for me, I don't want to be in a rush. Like, I don't want to feel the FOMO. I don't want to feel like I don't have enough. Because I don't know, because you guys said, you're Christians, or you have, like, you believe in God. Like,
Yeah.
not enough is, serving the devil. We all know that. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're lacking is not being in service of God. So
Yeah.
that's why that's one of the things that I also want to push more into the Bitcoin community. Like, it's a meme to say that nobody has enough, but will anyone ever have enough?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's put some logic into it. Yeah, I guess it's a funny meme and we can all joke about it, but to being appreciative of what's there, what we have already stacked is so much more important than pretending that we don't have enough, right? And I feel like that's one of the things that we would like. It's a message that you as a couple, as a family, could help convey because it's so important to that, oh, I'm too late to Bitcoin narrative, or it's too late, or all
Yeah.
that stuff is just nonsense,
Yeah. Yeah. And me, like as an outsider looking in, when he was studying it more, I didn't really fully understand, right? I didn't understand what, like, he was saying these big numbers and all these things, and I'm going, that sounds like a lot of money,
Yeah.
Like, how you're saying that we have to get to this coin's value? Like, we don't even have like sort of that, So
Yeah.
it was hard for me to understand going into like learning more about Bitcoin, because it's intimidating, it's different,
Well,
it's a totally different language. But
yeah.
yeah, when he would explain it to me, we are at right where we need to be right now. And
Yeah.
we've always felt that in general, like we are in this place because God has put us here on this earth at this time for a purpose. We don't know why. We're just doing our best we can. And we're going to do what we feel like leads us with our values, leads us with our faith, all those things. So, but I love what you're saying is we will never feel like we have enough. Like we're always going to, as humans, in our sin and sinful nature, right? We're always going to feel like, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this. But really, we just need to be grateful, thankful for what is and what is in front of us and what we have.
So good.
And then we can be blessed abundantly later, and we don't know when that will be, what that will look like, any of that, but we will be blessed tenfold, right? It's said in scripture, we'll be blessed tenfold based on how we, serve and love others and what we're grateful for now. How are we expected to have more if we're not grateful for what we have now?
Exactly.
So
the whole thing too is like the mindset of being grateful and thankful, and you look in your life and every single person that we see in our life, every single person we come across, walk around, look at, everyone has problems.
Yeah.
Everyone is battling something, health, finances, jobs, marriage, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, like we could take a step back and be like, can things be better? Absolutely. But can things be worse? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Health, and so we went to the ER a couple of weeks ago for our daughter. She hit her eye. Everything's good. But when going in there, I really made it was a great reminder being in the emergency room, like seeing all these people just battling, and you're just like, oh my goodness, like people are
Yeah.
going through real life problems. And we're luckily we just came here for like a boo-boo on her eye, right?
Yeah.
But it can definitely be worse. And so being happy where you're at, being content, and stack your sats however rate that you can, preferably faster than slower. And like you said, Felipe, Bitcoin can just skyrocket any day now, right? It could just take off. And I always think like best case scenario, Bitcoin goes down and we can buy cheap sats.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it goes to 250 plus, right?
Yeah.
Like easily. And so there's no doubt on my mind on that, because when you put in the work and you do it and you understand how the whole monetary policy, the whole monetary system, how it works, and how it's designed for us to be in debt and inflation not going anywhere, like you're just like, you're comfortable and at peace on like where our future is going to be. And it takes so much weight off of your shoulders knowing that you have some Bitcoin, right? You have the best asset, the hardest asset that there ever is. And to be around in this time in life to experience it, I think it's like truly a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. And talking to people
absolutely.
like you, it's great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I feel the same way. There's one common theme in Bitcoiners. I've been to conferences in different countries, and what I see in Bitcoiners is often what I see in people who believe in God, who are Christians. The values are aligned. That's one of the reasons that I got curious about Jesus's story. I was born into a Christian family that believed in God, but wasn't actually practicing, going to church or celebrating, or but since my values, through finding, truly aligning my values with Bitcoin, and I started interacting with people online, and I realized how much I liked the people that were Christians, or that believed in God. So I got curious, started reading, and started believing myself. So it was a very
Nice.
interesting. Yeah, it was last year, October 7th. Um, how well we align. Like, that's one of the things that I find the most fascinating. That people who are family oriented, who want well for others around them, who want to build strong families, who care about their relationships, who want to be the best versions of themselves. Like, yes, we find all kinds of people in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
but we also find a lot of people who are like that, who genuinely care about serving others, who being a good person, who want to improve the people around them, wants to improve the community around them. And I think that's just so awesome. I absolutely love that. And
Yeah.
it's something that I feel like more people probably miss that, or they maybe even crave it. I feel like I've craved it because I grew up in a family that butted heads all the time. It's like we were struggling to be friends. We were struggling to get along, and
Yeah.
the fact that I could go to a conference and have a really deep and nice and kind and loving conversation with a complete stranger, I was like, this is more like my deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've noticed, like, Anthony would always say, oh God, because he's on X. And so he would say, oh yeah, I was talking to someone, and, we're all doing push-ups now, and we're all doing, like, the push-up challenge, and just the energy that, like, you were
Yeah,
sharing is so positive.
for
And,
sure.
like, to Anthony's heart is positivity. Like, this guy is the most positive person almost irritatingly positive, like, to the point where I'm like, can you not make
Yeah.
this a thing about being positive, because I just want to be upset about it. Um, so his energy is so much that way, and so I value when people are feeding into that energy for him,
Right.
because because he feeds me, right? Like, when he is joyful and happy and positive, like, our family flows better. We're all on the same page, and so when there's people that the people you surround yourself with are so important,
Yeah,
that they could be, energy suckers, right? And, just take all this, like, joy out of you, but then you can also fill yourself up with so many great people. And just seeing how the X community and the, specifically Bitcoiners, I feel very grateful for that, because I only want people who are feeding into my husband positivity,
of course.
God, common values, all those things, because that's so important. I don't
Right.
want anyone feeding him anything negative, because if you bring that home, get on out of here, because I don't want you, like, bringing that energy in here, because we have
Yeah.
a whole family, and our children are watching us all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, and even if he's fed negativity, you know, it seems like, building the skill to be able to transmute it, or to be able to deflect, or to be able to not feed into it yourself is also
Yeah.
so important. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're parents, so you probably know this better than I do. And that's like, you don't want your kids to suffer, and you don't want to be exposed to shit, but
yeah,
you also know that it's impossible to
right.
fully and forever shield them from the reality of
Yes,
life. So
yes,
having not only the wherewithal and the awareness to understand what is it that benefits me and not, that's one thing. But the other thing is, to be able to deal with it when it arrives.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's really good. And there's a book called Boundaries that I read. It's so good, and it helps you make aware of that stuff,
mm-hmm.
Felipe, because again, like, having the wherewithal, like, oh, if someone's negative, like, I'll just be like, oh, block, snip. Like, I just don't have time for any negativity in my life. Like life is so short, and I see that with my kids and my parents. My parents were just at our age, and then now they're older, and I remember like this is like my grandma. She used to be in a convalescent home, and I would always go and visit her. And I would like take her, wheelchair her to like different her friends, right, in this convalescent home. And I would always like, oh, let's go here. And I would talk to every nationality, every race, everyone, right, all these different people, all in one little spot. And I'd always ask them, because I was like 13 years old. I was like, hey, if you can give any advice to me, like what would it be? Because you've obviously had more life than me so far. And they all said the same thing, Felipe, in just a different way. They all said, hey, enjoy your life, because
Uh-huh.
before you know it, you're going to be like right here in this bed. Right. And then I was like,
Yeah.
I was so blown away. And then from that moment, talking to my parents, talking to my friends, talking to my friends' parents, right? Every barbecues, like pool parties, everybody would say in a way, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I remember I was just your age,
Yeah.
Johnny. I was just in high school. I was just in college. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, talking to those older people, and then and then these are younger people, like this thing called life really goes by fast, right? And
Yeah.
so, and then seeing it in my kids, I'm like, man, I just held my kid in my arms, and now she's 5, right?
Yeah.
And now she, and it's just like, wow, like time is really flying. So we really need to like enjoy every moment that we have, good and bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really soak it up. The bad ones are times to like grow, learn,
Learn. Yeah.
and figure things out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not like bad times, or like bad things that happen to you, they're really blessings, right? They're really blessings for you to overcome. And I think, in our faith, like God puts those in there for us to like somehow make us stronger for something in the future. And so that's just the kind of the way, our perspective is.
Yeah.
But, and the last thing I would like to talk, or one of the things I want to talk about too, is what you mentioned earlier, is like, being selfish. I think if you have self growth and you work on yourself, what happens is that it pours into the people around you.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you overfill your cup, like you're able to like pour into other people around you. They all feel the benefits.
Yeah.
Like in a plane, right? They always say, hey, make sure you put your mask on first before you help anyone else, because you're not helping anyone if like both of you die,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And so we have to be mindful and
Yeah.
really think,
Yeah.
and so yeah, just wanted to add that. That was
That
great.
was really good.
I love that, Anthony, and I think having the ability to do what you just explained is such in low supply. Maybe I've been exposed to the wrong people throughout my life, and that's why I believe that. But just seeing that in you is really refreshing. It's really nice to see you guys engaged in this and building together. And you know, as I mentioned, growing up in a household that really tried to make things work, and to a degree, we did make it work.
Mhm,
Like we had roof and food,
mhm,
um, and what we needed to survive, but we didn't have that human connection aspect of humanity. And
Mm.
just seeing you guys building here, having the pleasure to meet you, and hopefully I'm going to be able to give you guys a hug sometime in the future.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We need to make our way out to Europe, actually.
Yeah,
We've been like itching to go
yeah.
travel more.
Mm-hmm.
we'll host, and then we'll show each other around. Honestly, I would love that. That would be
Dude,
Oh,
that'd be
that'd be
absolutely
great.
really
We
cool.
cool.
want to do. We
Yeah,
want we this year and next year. We're like we really want to. We're gonna get out a lot more.
cool.
Just to go travel and visit a lot of
Yeah.
places in the country and out.
That's awesome, man. Hey, I think that's a great way to put a nice red little wrapper on it. And I want to thank you guys for your time. I really hope that we can do this sometime again in the future. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed the conversation and meeting you. And once again, it would be really, really cool to see you guys sometime in the future.
Oh,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Thank you
Cool.
so much, Felipe.
Bye,
Bye.
Felipe.
Bye, guys.